All right, we have got 13 games for this NBA slate on Friday, November 8th, and we are going to be predicting all of them in today's episode. The big marquee game today, the Golden State Warriors go on the road to Cleveland, potentially and possibly the two best teams right now, performance-wise in the NBA, are the Warriors and the Cavs, and they are going to be playing not on national television, because that nationally televised game is the Suns and the Mavericks at that time, but yes, the Warriors and the Cavs feel like the biggest game today, and we're going to be talking about that and all other of the 12 games here on this NBA schedule. And folks, if you have not yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA predictions here on the channel, as well as in 1 hour time, we'll have our best bets for college basketball today. So go make sure to check out the video in about an hour, or in exactly an hour from when this video is posted, as well as our college football predictions that were posted earlier this week, as well as our NFL predictions and our UFC Magny versus Prates full card predictions. All of those links are in the description down below. All right, let's get into the first of these 13 games. We start things off here in Charlotte, North Carolina, with the Charlotte Hornets hosting the Indiana Pacers. I have trouble sometimes, predicting the Pacers, and, honestly, I have trouble trusting the Pacers to cover any spread. I'm gonna do it tonight. Indiana's been playing better basketball. They're 4-4. This is a team at one point in time was 1-3, and Indiana has been playing a lot better. And it's really been the production out of Benedict Mathurin that has really helped. I mean, when they play Benedict Mathurin, they win games. Last game in that one against Orlando at home, Mathurin with 20 points and 11 rebounds. And Tyrese Halliburton again has not. We're still waiting on the Tyrese Halliburton performance and the impact that he can have. Obviously, being a guy who was on the U.S. national team last year. Again, we know how well Tyrese Halliburton can play, especially last year as well in Indiana. We're still waiting on that. And I think, again, eventually it's going to come through. But obviously Mathurin with that extended role because of the Aaron Nesmith injury. But again, I feel like Mathurin should be in the starting lineup every single night for Indiana. They're taking on the Charlotte Hornets, a team that is coming off of a last-second victory, of course, in their last one over the Detroit Pistons. They won that one 108-107. It was their first win in 4 games. They had dropped 3 in a row before that to the Celtics twice and the Minnesota Timberwolves. But in all fairness to Charlotte, they've played some pretty good teams so far this year. LaMelo Ball has been producing in every single game that they have played. It was Miles Bridges in their last one who led their team in points with 27. I am going to take the Pacers though to win this one and cover the spread. I get it. The game's in Charlotte. I completely understand that, but I am taking the Pacers to go out there and cover the spread. I think they are the better team. The way the Pacers are playing right now, makes me feel good about them covering. Again, Mathurin, and again, Tyrese has got to figure it out eventually. He's still, again, moving the ball really well, but Tyrese has been, averaging 16 points a game. Got to get that number up. Again, assist-wise, he's averaging 8 a game. Halliburton, though, we expect him to return to all-star form eventually. Right now, again, we just haven't seen it out of Halliburton, but I'd expect the Pacers to continue to get back on the right track, and I'd expect them to go out there and to cover the spread and win against the Charlotte Hornets. Next up, we move on to Detroit. We've got the Atlanta Hawks going to Detroit to take on the Pistons, and guys, I don't want to jinx it, because I feel like I jinx it all the time when I say I really like this game, but I really like this spot for the Hawks. I do. Now, again, I've picked against the Pistons a lot this season, but I really feel good about the Hawks going to Detroit and winning this one. I do. I like what the Hawks are doing. They got that big win over New York a couple days ago. Obviously, Trae Young in his post-game interview told those New York fans to go home, and obviously, again, Trae Young's rivalry with the New York Knicks and their fans will never end. But Atlanta, I think they're turning a page. They're 4-5 now. They've won 2 of 3, winning on the road in New Orleans, losing to the Boston Celtics, and then beating the New York Knicks. Trae Young, of course, puts up numbers every single night. Again, I say it every episode, every video I make. Trae Young is the most underrated superstar in the NBA. Now he's getting help as well. I mean, you got, Zachary Richardson, who was the number 1 pick in the draft. He's averaging 12 points a night, but last game, 33 in their win over New York. Jalen Johnson is producing and more than producing for Atlanta as well. He's averaging 19 and 10. DeAndre Hunter is averaging 18 as well. I mean, I think the Hawks are turning a page, and I think Atlanta is slightly, improving. Not slightly, I think they're improving a lot. We look at Detroit, right? I mean, this is a team that has won 2 of 3 as well. You look back at their Nets game, they won. They beat the Lakers. They lose the Hornets in their last game. But again, Detroit's been playing inspiring basketball, and they've been playing better basketball basketball as well. But ultimately, I like the Hawks to win this game. I mean, two teams, again, that are trying to kind of make it out of the slums right now this season, I'll be honest with you. Two teams that, I mean, the Hawks obviously had higher expectations than Detroit, but two teams that were, again, in the lottery last season. Cade Cunningham, again, you know he is going to go out there and he's going to produce, averaging 23 points a game so far. Jalen Duren's going to clean it up on the glass. Jaden Ivey has been having a good season as well. But I like the Hawks to go out here and win this basketball game. I think Atlanta is the better team. They are underdogs in this game, and the only reason they are underdogs is because this game is in Detroit. I like the Hawks to do it, man. Again, Trae Young has been producing every single game for this Hawks team. He does it with the passing. He does it by scoring, obviously, as well. And Jalen Johnson, DeAndre Hunter, and company have been helping out Trae Young a lot, too. I like the Hawks to go out here and get this victory. Again, whenever I say I really like a game, it doesn't always go in our favor, but I really like Atlanta to go on the road and beat the Pistons. Yes, the Pistons have their guys who can go off, which kind of feels weird, but I like the Hawks to go into Detroit and win this game in the Little Caesars Arena. Next up, we go to Orlando. We have got the Orlando Magic at home against the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, Orlando still looking for their first victory without their star Paolo Banchero. You know, they started off the season 3-1. They are now 3-6 after 5 straight losses to the Bulls, to the Cavs, to the Mavericks, to the OKC Thunder, and to the Indiana Pacers. Now, guys, I have a ban list, though, on teams I do not bet on. And I'm about to make the debut of the ban list right now. And, you know, I have a team at the bottom of the ban list right now that you're not going to be able to see because I'm saving this for our college basketball video in an hour. So you can see the fourth team we are adding to the ban list. But here it is. And excuse my handwriting because it's not the best. But if you can see this, the ban list is, I'll just read it because this is horrible. Maybe I'll make like maybe a graphic, or I'll just, actually print this out. But the ban list are the New Orleans Pelicans, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs in college football, and the University of San Diego in basketball. Those are the teams that are banned. We do not bet those teams, okay? And we're going to keep adding teams as we go on, through the season, obviously. But New Orleans is banned. I will not bet on them, and I will not pick them. They've lost 3 in a row, and ever since we started feeding the Pelicans every single game they've played, they're 1-3. So we're going to continue to do this. Now, if I, wasn't completely against picking the Pelicans, I'd actually kind of like them in this spot. I'm not going to lie. They're getting 4.5 on the road. Wendell Carter Jr. is not playing. Obviously, Banchero's out. But, we just don't trust the Pelicans to win games. I just don't. Okay? Orlando, they're due for a victory, man. They're so due. They haven't won a game. They've lost 5 in a row. They're back at home. Obviously, again, no Banchero and no Wendell Carter now. But, again, the Magic are more than due to pick up a win. And I think, again, if they're ever going to get it done, they're going to get it done against this piss-poor Pelicans team. And they're going to get it done at home in Orlando as well. Again, we will not pick the Pelicans, but the Pelicans, in all fairness to them, they are kind of at full strength tomorrow. No Jordan Hawkins, or today, no Jordan Hawkins, but it'll be Alvarado. I assume maybe, probably a Brandon Boston Jr. or Javonte Green in the starting lineup, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and company as well. But, the Pelicans play such uninspiring basketball, man. 3 straight losses, 3 games that really weren't all that close. That's my rule. We don't pick the Pelicans. Again, Zion will have his nights. Brandon Ingram will have his nights. But this team just can't put it all together and win basketball games. I'm going with the Magic. They are due for a victory eventually. Jalen Suggs, you just got your big contract, man. Do it for the Texas Christian Horned Frogs. If you get the joke, you get the joke. Shout out to Jalen Suggs. I mean, good for him, man. But Franz Wagner has been playing, exceptionally well as well. He has picked up the slack. Obviously, he's averaging 19 a game now, but him and Jalen Suggs, I think they figure it out, and I think they beat the Pelicans. So the Pelicans are banned, but we're taking the Magic to win and cover the 4.5 points as well. Next up, we got Boston. We've got the Boston Celtics hosting the Brooklyn Nets. I really don't have much to say about this game, other than the fact that I think the Nets actually cover. I get it. Again, the Celtics are huge favorites. They're getting 13.5 at home, but the Brooklyn Nets have spoiled, they've spoiled large spreads so many times this season. I think they continue to do it here against Boston. Now, this is really going to put to the test, how much is Brooklyn going to affect teams this season in terms of trying to cover? Because, I mean, again, they're playing one of the best teams in basketball and a team that does usually cover these large lines a lot. We're going to see. Again, can Brooklyn kind of hang with Boston? I don't know. They're going to be at full strength today, other than I think Bogdanovich isn't playing still, but it's fine. Again, all they really need is Cam Thomas, who's going to put up 30 points, it seems like, every night, even though he has kind of, slowed his roll a little bit. It's been Cameron Johnson the last couple nights for Brooklyn on both Sunday and Monday. They haven't played in 4 days, but in both those last games they played, Johnson led their team in scoring with 26 and 20 on both nights. Dennis Schroeder obviously has been scoring pretty well as well for Brooklyn. But here's the thing, guys. Brooklyn hasn't played in 4 days. They get the Celtics on the road. I get it. They're on the road. Boston is coming off a loss. Obviously, Jason Tatum, again, I'll speak at length every single video about how well Jason Tatum's playing this year. He's, basically putting this team on his back. But Brooklyn hasn't played in 4 days. I get they're on the road, but Brooklyn, again, their shooting is really weird because they kind of shoot lights out in games. I'm taking Brooklyn to cover the 13.5. I do like them in this spot. They're not winning the game, but the Nets' ability to shoot the basketball and their weird ability for their guys to just get hot. I'm talking about Johnson, Thomas, Schroeder. Like, these guys, someone scoring 30 every night for the Nets. It just depends on who it is. I like the Nets to get the job done here and cover the spread. Obviously, I have no doubt in my mind the Celtics will win. The Celtics are the better team. But again, the game for us here is you give Brooklyn a 14-0 lead at the start of the game. Can they finish with the victory? I know it doesn't always work. It doesn't exactly work like that, obviously. But, I like Brooklyn to cover the spread here. I do. I think they can. They're coming off that win over the Grizzlies in Memphis, or at home in Brooklyn, but still, I think they'll get it done. They have a really tough stretch here coming up, though. Like, this is where we're going to figure out how good the Nets really are. At Boston, at Cleveland, they'll beat the Pelicans because the Pelicans suck. At home against the Celtics, then back-to-back road games in, New York, MSG, it's right there, but still against the Knicks, right? Like, we're going to find out how good the Nets really are right now. I'm taking them to cover against Boston. We'll see. Next up, the game of the day. The Cleveland Cavaliers will be hosting the Golden State Warriors. Obviously, again, no LeBron Curry, but, it's Donovan Mitchell and Steph Curry. It's a franchise best start for the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are 9-0, and they're looking really good. Cleveland looks like the best team in basketball right now, but they're taking on a team, the Golden State Warriors, who are 7-1, and hey, I'm just going to say, the one game they lost, we picked against them, and we picked against them as plus 350 dogs with the Los Angeles Clippers. But the Golden State Warriors, they've gone through, a couple games without Steph Curry this season, 3 of them. They won those 3 games. Curry is back. They are 2-0 post-Curry injury, and they're coming off a win over the Boston Celtics. And now here we go, Warriors and Cavs. The game is in Cleveland, and ultimately that's why I am picking the Cleveland Cavaliers to win this basketball game. The Cavs are just the better team, guys. The Warriors are playing really well. They're shooting lights out. Buddy Hield has been such a great addition to this team. He's averaging 21 points a night. I mean, it feels like, this is the spot where Buddy Hield would be able to succeed, obviously, in a shooting-heavy system that the Golden State Warriors are. Again, he is essentially the Klay Thompson replacement. The only difference is, Buddy's coming off the bench most nights, but it works for Golden State. He'll lead the second unit, and Buddy will shoot lights out. This has to come to an end eventually, though, right? I would think. Maybe it doesn't come to an end tonight, but what will happen is that the Cavs will be able to outscore the Golden State Warriors. The Cavaliers just have too many guys who are able to score, and score consistently. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, hell, Mobley, Jared Allen, they're going to get their points. They play great defense. Donovan Mitchell, I think, again, he's only averaging 24 this season, but the presence Donovan Mitchell has on this Cleveland Cavaliers team, I think it's time we start talking about Donovan Mitchell as a true superstar in the NBA. I think we do. And especially the way the Cavaliers have started the season. Again, are the Cavs going to continue this? Obviously, they're not going to go 82-0, but I do think they go to 10-0. I think Cleveland does win this game. It's the first half of back-to-back for them. They're going to play the Brooklyn Nets tomorrow night on Saturday. But I think they go to 10-0. It's a huge game. They're getting 4.5 at home. I think they will do it. Cleveland's found ways to win in every single game they've played. I get it. The Bucks games were close games back-to-back. I understand that. But when you look at the Cavs and the Warriors right now, the Cavs should outpower Golden State. Golden State has won games, but look at the teams the Warriors have beat. I get Boston. I completely get it. But other than that, they really haven't beat the best teams. Portland, Utah, Pelicans, Rockets, Wizards. Yeah. The Boston win was huge. But will they have that night on back-to-back nights? That's my thing. It was a huge win over the Celtics. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think they can perform like that on back-to-back nights. Give me the Cleveland Cavaliers to win this game, and I get it, they had Thursday off, but still back-to-back games. Give me the Cavaliers to cover the 4.5 points. Give me Cleveland to win the game as well. Next up, we go to New York. We've got the New York Knicks versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Guys, I think the Bucks win is finally, We're turning the page, guys. We're turning the page here at the Milwaukee Bucks, okay? They beat the Jazz. They blew them out. All right, we got that one wrong. Not afraid to admit when I was wrong. We thought the Jazz were going to cover. We took the Bucks to win the basketball game, but we thought Utah was going to be able to cover the spread. They didn't, okay? But now this is where, Milwaukee can kind of start to look forward here. Now, they are still lacking any production outside of Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, and that's a problem. And yes, they just did win a game against the Utah Jazz, but guys, if you read the box score for what the Milwaukee Bucks had against this Jazz team, Dame with 34, Giannis with 31. You know who else scored in the starting lineup? Jackson scored 7, Taurean Prince scored 6, and Brook Lopez scored 1 point. Off the bench, Bobby Portis put up 19, Green put up 12. Other than that, nobody else put up more than 4 points. It's a problem, and that's why the Bucks aren't going to win basketball games right now. But they're going to keep this one close with the Knicks. 7.5 points is just way too much. It simply is. I don't really understand this. I think Milwaukee has an outside shot to win this game. I don't think they will, especially with the second night of a back-to-back. And again, Dame and Giannis are literally doing everything. But I don't think they lose by more than 8 points here. I don't think they do, more than 7 points. New York's coming off back-to-back losses. The Knicks, again, they are a good team, but they're 3-4 this year. Back-to-back losses to the Rockets and the Hawks. I get both those games are on the road, but yeah, I don't really see the line on this one. I get it, the Bucks are playing losing basketball right now, but they should be able to stay competitive in this game. I think this one goes right down to the wire, and in the end, I think the Knicks win it, but 7.5 points to me just feels like too much. Again, until Chris Middleton comes back, consistent winning for the Milwaukee Bucks will not happen. I understand that, but we're not picking them to win this game. We're just picking them to not get blown out. I feel like this is too good to be true. It is. I feel like it is. And it probably is. But give me the Milwaukee Bucks to cover the 7.5 points. They will go to New York and stay competitive with this Knicks team. But ultimately, the Knicks will win the basketball game. But give me Milwaukee to go on the road and cover the 7.5 points. And this is the game ESPN is airing instead of the Warriors and the Cavaliers. And don't get me wrong, good basketball game. Really good basketball game. The Phoenix Suns go on the road to take on the Dallas Mavericks, and we are going to be riding with the 7-1 Phoenix Suns to go on the road and beat the Mavs. The Mavs have been just incredibly inconsistent this season. Very inconsistent. They're 5-3, but they start the year 3-1. They beat the Timberwolves on a huge game Tuesday night in Minnesota. After that, they have traded wins and losses. At home, they lose to the Rockets. They beat the Magic. They lose to the Pacers. They beat the Bulls. All at home. This ends their home stretch against Phoenix, and I think the Suns will be able to go into Dallas and win this basketball game. Guys, the Suns are 7-1. They're only lost to the Los Angeles Lakers in Los Angeles, and the Lakers, sometimes they'll look great, sometimes they'll look horrible. We'll get to the Lakers towards the tail end of this video, where they have the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't think that game is very competitive, but we'll get to that. Every Lakers game, to a certain extent, will be competitive if they win. I'm just saying. But the Phoenix Suns are playing great basketball. They find ways to win. Back-to-back games, it's a 2-point victory over the 76ers and a 3-point victory over the Miami Heat. Kevin Durant put up 35 in the Sixers game, and he put up 32 in the Miami game. Nurkic with 15 boards against Portland, 15 against Philadelphia, 18 against Miami. This Suns team is firing on all cylinders. They are. Their starting lineup, balls out. They just do. You have the big three plus Nurkic. These guys are playing well. Tyus Jones has been a really good one for this team as well. I mean, obviously, again, they're not asking Tyus Jones to score the ball. I mean, hell, he averages 9 points a game, but the way he's able to move the rock and, again, get it to these stars does help. KD's averaging 28, D-Book's averaging 25.5, Beal's averaging 15.5. Again, whatever, hasn't played all the games, but still, I think Phoenix goes on the road and beats Dallas right now. I think they do. Phoenix feels like the better team. Again, the Mavericks, good squad, obviously. We're looking at Luka and Kyrie. But the problem with the Mavericks, and it's very similar to the problem that the Milwaukee Bucks have, and obviously the Mavericks, they get better defensive play at their guys, and they've been managing it, obviously, better than the way Milwaukee has. But they really struggle to get production outside of Luka and Kyrie. Again, not to the same extent as the Bucks, obviously, because you have guys like Klay Thompson, you got guys like Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington that are going to put up their points on a nightly basis. But they do kind of have that problem. Outside of Luka and Kyrie, they don't have a true number 3. And obviously, again, that was supposed to be Klay Thompson this season. And Thompson has his nights. How reliable is he to be a consistent 3? I don't think he is. And that's why I think Phoenix wins this game. All right, the Suns, again, they were a questionable team last season. They were a team that would fall apart in the fourth quarter every single game last year, at least in the regular season. And obviously, they got to the playoffs, and they got swept by Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I get that. But I think right now the Suns are playing better basketball. I don't really care the game's in Dallas. I think the Suns go on the road and win this game. Again, I feel like they are a deeper team. And I really like what their starting lineup's doing right now. Again, Nurkic is balling out in the glass. He's playing great defense. And you look at what Durant and Booker are doing right now early in the season. Those two have been excelling with this Phoenix team. Give me the Phoenix Suns to go on the road and beat the Dallas Mavericks. You can keep your points. They are 3.5-point dogs in Dallas. No, you can keep your damn points. We're taking the Phoenix Suns to outright win the game on the road on ESPN in Dallas, Texas. Next up, we go to the Washington Wizards going on the road to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. I am very split on the winner of this game. I'm taking the Washington Wizards to cover. I get it, no Kyle Kuzma, but who don't the Memphis Grizzlies have? Ja Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane. I don't know who's starting. It's going to be Scottie Pippen Jr., Luke Kennard. Aldama can't play the three, so who's playing the three? I don't know. And then Zach Edey and Jaren Jackson, obviously. Now, watching the Grizzlies against the Lakers, Jay Huff went off, which kind of pissed me off because Jay Huff was a guy the Lakers had in the Summer League. I watched him play in the Summer League in person in San Francisco a couple years ago, and I just had to sit there and watch Jay Huff just explode randomly for 9 points. I mean, it was really weird. It was very odd. But again, you saw the way Milwaukee. I don't know why I keep saying Milwaukee. I want to say Milwaukee with Minnesota too. But you saw the way Memphis played last season without Ja Morant, right? They have to go back to that for this game. I don't think it's a key to success. My ultimate pick here, though, is Memphis to win, but I think Washington covers. Now, I am wearing a Washington Wizards jersey. Now, believe it or not, I wore this my senior year of high school, and I got clowned for wearing this. No, not because it was a Kyle Kuzma jersey. Now, I would understand why I get clowned for wearing a Kuz jersey, because it's a Kyle Kuzma jersey. But no, I got clowned by people who don't even watch basketball, don't know what the Washington Wizards are, but just because they thought the jersey was stupid. Now, maybe the pink jersey isn't the best, but, the sides got, they got the cherry blossom on it. I don't know. I like the jersey. I'm just saying. It's weird. It was weird. I didn't get clowned by the boys by, wearing a Kuz jersey. But the other population of students, it was weird. It was the talk of the town that day in high school. It was weird. Regardless, I'm taking the Washington Wizards to cover the 5.5. Okay, I get it. The Grizzlies are playing good basketball. They just blew out the Lakers. But with the injuries and these guys not playing, I think Washington can kind of stay competitive. I get it. The Wizards have not been competitive in a while. They've only beat the Hawks this season, and I'm not picking them to beat the Grizzlies. I think they'll stay in this game and lose it by less than 5. The problem is they haven't lost a game by less than 5 all year long. They lost by 20 against Boston. They lost by 19 to Cleveland. They lost by 20 to Miami. They lost by 13 to the Warriors. Valanciunas isn't playing bad. Jordan Poole and Bilal Coulibaly, I guess, are doing all right. I wouldn't put money on it. This is one of my least confident picks in the entire video, just because there's so much random stuff that can happen in this game. Guys, the Washington Wizards themselves are random as it is. You add on top of this, the Grizzlies are missing 3 of their starters because they're hurt. Don't bet on this game. Don't do it. I'm taking the Wizards, but again, don't even touch it. Give me the Wizards to cover. Give me the Grizzlies to win. Again, that might be the most random game of basketball you've ever watched. Again, the Wizards are the goof troop sometimes, and I wouldn't touch this game. Let's move on. We got the Oklahoma City Thunder at home against the Houston Rockets, and I get it, my guys, the Thunder, I've been hyping them up all season long to being the best team in basketball, and I still think they are. They're 7-1. Okay, again, they ran into the Nuggets on the road. They lost the game by 2 points. It is what it is. It's going to happen to the best of us, right? Losing to Denver, it's tough. Now, I didn't anticipate for Russell Westbrook to randomly go off for 29 points. Like, that I did not take into account. Like, that could actually happen. I think it's crazy that happened, but, it is what it is. And the entire Nuggets starting lineup decided to go crazy. Christian Brown with 24, Russ with 29, Jokic with 23, 20 and 16. Goodness. MPJ with 24. Obviously, again, no Aaron Gordon right now because of the injury. It's going to happen. And, OKC got great production out of Shea and Jalen Williams. Obviously, SGA with 28 points, Jalen Williams with 29. Chet didn't have his best outing, which is okay. Again, the Thunder are going to have bad nights. but we can still rely on Oklahoma City to go out there and cover spreads for us every single night. This is a perfect bounce back opportunity against a Rockets team that is overperforming right now. Guys, the Rockets are 5-3, but they are overperformers. I am going to continue to fade the Houston Rockets, not because they did me wrong like the New Orleans Pelicans did multiple times this season. It's just I think the Rockets are overplaying what they are right now. And maybe I'm wrong. And maybe we're going to look back at this in a month and be like, all right, the Rockets are, a top 5 team in the West. I don't think they are, but right now they're 5-3, right? I just think they're outplaying what they should be, right? Don't get me wrong, they beat some good teams, the Knicks, they lost to the Warriors, but I mean, the Mavs are not, Mavs are a good team that they beat. We'll see. They don't have the roughest of schedule coming up. I mean, look at their next 6 games, right? OKC, Detroit, Washington, Clippers, Bulls, right? I mean, those are very winnable games for this Rockets squad. Obviously, again, Van Vliet put up 21, 7, and 10 in that win over the Spurs in a complete blowout that they had against San Antonio. Sengun's going to ball out. He's going to. Jalen Green has had a pretty big season as well. I just think Oklahoma City's the better team. Again, Houston, I feel like, are overperforming, and the Thunder are the best team in basketball, in my opinion. Again, Chet Holmgren's not going to continue to have bad nights like he did a couple nights ago in Denver, and the production you're going to get out of SGA, Jalen Williams, and that really deep bench that OKC has as well. Give me the Thunder to go out there and win the basketball game, and they will cover the points as well. Give me OKC to cover the 8.5 and win the game outright. Next up, we go to Minnesota. We've got the Timberwolves taking on the Portland Trailblazers. I might have got overzealous and took the Portland Trailblazers yesterday just because, I was kind of picking against the Spurs, but the NBA season, I've said this multiple times on the channel before, I'm going to say it again, the NBA season's so random, it's hard to pick because there's 82 games a year, right? I mean, so much random stuff can happen. I'm not mad at the pick that I made yesterday with picking Portland to beat San Antonio, but now this is where we take advantage of it. We take the Timberwolves to cover and blow out Portland. Why? Both these teams are coming off back-to-backs. That's fine. Minnesota is more equipped to deal with that, compared to what the Trailblazers will be prepared to deal with this, right? Minnesota was down to Chicago yesterday, and they came back and won the game, and they came back and covered as well, winning the game by 14 points. Ant dropped 33, Julius Randle with 10 in the glass, Mike Conley led the team in assists with 11. Minnesota's playing good basketball, right? I mean, their losses are the Spurs on the road, at Dallas, and then the Lakers. I think we can rely on the Timberwolves to beat a team they're much better than, obviously. I mean, that's no stretch, obviously. That the Minnesota Timberwolves are the better team compared to the Portland Trailblazers. The Trailblazers, they get production out of all their starters, right? I mean, you get Simons, who's going to put up 19 and a half. Jeremy Grant's going to put up 18. Ayton's going to put up 14. Scoot's going to put up 12. Denny's going to put up 10, right? I mean, they're going to get production out their entire starting lineup. They just don't have one guy who is their, number one. I mean, if you had to say someone's a number one option, definitely is Anthony Simons, but they don't have a guy they can rely on, and I think that's where the Timberwolves are going to win this game. Again, both these teams are on the second back of a back-to-back. I think that heavily favors the Timberwolves because they are just straight up the better team. They have better depth than Portland as well. I'd expect Minnesota to just run away with this game, and I'd expect the Timberwolves to win this one and cover the spread as well. So give me Minnesota at home to cover the 11.5 points and to beat the Portland Trailblazers. Next up, we go to Denver. We've got the Nuggets versus the Miami Heat. And guys, are the Nuggets back? They might be. For as bad as they started, 2-3, guys, they're 5-3. So I don't know what to say. It was fun while it lasted, when we could actually feel good about picking against the Denver Nuggets. Now we have to go back to actually picking this team every single night. We're taking the Nuggets to cover the 4.5 points, and they're going to do it fairly easily. I mean, it used to be an easy pick, last season, last couple of years, just, Denver at home, they should cover. I think we're kind of back to that right now. Denver's at home, they should cover against the Heat. Only 4.5. I feel like they should be getting more. We're going to buy in, and we're going to take Denver all night here. Again, Jokic plays like one of the best players in basketball. It's because he's exactly that. I mean, this guy is basically just averaging a triple-double right now. I think he is, 29, 13.5, and 11. I mean, it's insane. I mean, the numbers that Jokic puts up. Again, we've been talking about it all season long, though. And it felt like in that game against the Thunder, we finally got production out the rest of the lineup. Jokic finally got some help. Again, it was Russ that they got help from, MPJ, Christian Brown, right? They finally got help with the rest of this team. And when that's happening, the Nuggets are a problem. I get it, no Jamal Murray, but if Russ keeps playing like Russ played against the Thunder, again, I don't know if that's going to continue to happen, obviously, but if Russ keeps playing like that, hey, the Nuggets got something. Now, Russ is not going to continue to do that every single night. I know that for a fact. But maybe we catch a little insanity run here with Russell Westbrook, and the Nuggets dominate Miami. Regardless of how Russ plays, I do think the Nuggets win this game. Again, as long as Christian Brown and MPJ, the normal, starters for this team, play well, it doesn't really matter what Peyton Watson and Russell Westbrook do. As long as they're not horrible, the Nuggets should be able to win this game with their 3 starters playing well, right? Miami hasn't really impressed me at all this season, right? Coming off a loss against Phoenix, back-to-back losses to the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns. Their wins this season, guys, are the Hornets, Pistons, and Wizards. We've gone over this in every single Heat game we've talked about so far this season. They have not beat a good team yet. What leads me to believe that they're going to beat the Nuggets? Exactly. They've got a rough stretch coming up because it's all on the road, too. They have a long road trip. They've got Nuggets on the road, Timberwolves on the road, Pistons on the road, back-to-back road games against the Indiana Pacers. I think the Heat are in some trouble. Tyler Hero's been playing well. Adebayo's doing all right, but I just don't think they can beat good teams right now. Give me the Nuggets to win the game and cover the spread as well at home. All right, next up, we move on to Los Angeles. We've got the Los Angeles Lakers taking on the Philadelphia 76ers. It's no secret. I've said it on the channel before. I'm going to say it again. The Lakers are my favorite team. I've always been a LeBron James fan. No, I'm not a Lakers fan because of LeBron James. I started off watching basketball when Kobe Bryant was playing, but obviously LeBron being here is a great added bonus. I was really sick of watching those teams post-Kobe, pre-LeBron. Regardless, even though, hey, Lonzo Ball, big fan. If you look right, I can't point. God damn it. Right there. There's Lonzo Ball on my wall. Anyways, I think AD's playing the Sixers game. If he plays, the Lakers should dominate. No Tyrese Maxey, no Joel Embiid. That means no winning for the Philadelphia 76ers. Guys, they have to rely on Paul George to win this basketball game. Paul George, who's coming off the hyperextended knee, who's only played 2 games this season, and PG in his 2 games, not horrible, but not great. Not what, you need out of a guy who's going to have to lead your team tonight against the Lakers, right? 15 against the Suns, 18 against the Clippers. Not bad numbers for Paul George coming off the injury, obviously. But who's their number 1 tonight against the Lakers? Is it Paul George? It has to be. The starting lineup is going to be what? Lowry, Oubre, PG, Caleb Martin, Andre Drummond. Yeah, the Lakers should dominate this game. And I get it, the Lakers have been playing horrible basketball. They have, right? Back-to-back losses on the road to the Pistons and to the Grizzlies. LeBron puts up 39 in their loss against Memphis. And I'd make the case if Anthony Davis plays that game, they win that game. AD should be playing tonight against the 76ers, and that means the Lakers should win. Again, Anthony Davis is the best player in the NBA. When Anthony Davis plays, the Lakers win. Okay? AD should be on his way to win the MVP this season. I think that was apparent in the Lakers' loss to the Grizzlies. Again, they lose when AD doesn't play, and obviously, again, they're not invincible when Anthony Davis plays. Obviously, they lost to the Detroit Pistons when AD was in the lineup, but AD still put up 37 and 9 in that game. He's the best player in the NBA. Again, LeBron, and it's also, again, LeBron can still produce. There's no doubt in my mind that LeBron can still produce, and we just saw it in the Grizzlies game as well. If LeBron played the 4th quarter, he would have scored 50 points in that game. It's just that JJ Redick and the Lakers don't ask LeBron to produce and put the team on his back like he's done year in and year out because they have a guy like AD who can pick up the slack. Now, again, the bench unit out of the Lakers is absolutely abysmal. Bronny James has been sent down to the G League. Okay. They need some production at the bench, and they need some damn production out of D'Angelo Russell. It's that plain and simple. Will they get it? I don't know. But regardless of if they get bench production or not, they should be the 76ers. I don't feel great about them covering, guys. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't bet them -8.5 for the Lakers. I think they definitely win. The Lakers will find a way to win this game. But the Lakers, again, they will get into just close games against teams they should absolutely roll. Especially games on ESPN. This game might end up being close. The only saving grace here for the Lakers, and the reason why the official pick is them to cover the 8.5, is because the Sixers are so injured, because only Paul George and no Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. I'm taking the Lakers to cover the 8.5 points. I wouldn't bet it, though. I think they definitely win because the Lakers find ways to win games like this, especially against bad teams. But sometimes they just let these bad teams stick around. So give me the Lakers to win. I will take them to cover hesitantly. As we go on to our final game, we go on to Sacramento. Will the Kings be able to light the beam against the Los Angeles Clippers? I think they will. Give me the Kings to win, but give me the Clippers actually to cover the spread. The Clippers are playing much better than I thought they were going to prior to the season. You know why? It's because of Norman Powell. I didn't think that was going to be, the main star of the Clippers this season, but it is. Now, James Harden's playing well, but guys, it's the Norman Powell show in Inglewood for the Clippers. He's been great. He's averaging 25 points a game. The shooting's been, very great out of Norman Powell. But ultimately, I think the Kings win this game, but I think the Clippers hang around. A lot of teams just seem to hang around with Sacramento. We saw that in the Toronto game. We saw that, they did end up winning the game by 8 against Atlanta, but the Hawks were able just to hang around. The Heat hung around in Sacramento's victory on Monday in Miami. They did end up beating the Raptors by 15, but that was a game again the Raptors were somewhat in. I think the Clippers, again, are able to hang around. They're a team that's hard to get away from just because of their shooting, man. Norman Powell will keep them in a lot of games. James Harden's been playing well this season. He's going to keep them into games as well. Amir Coffey's going to randomly put up his threes. Derek Jones going to make his athletic plays as well. KPJ will produce some off the bench as well. Again, the Clippers, I just feel like, are a hard team to get away from, and especially in this game between them and the Kings, right? The Kings have been letting teams back into games a lot this season. They haven't really put anybody away. They haven't really buried many teams. And again, on paper, the Kings are the much better team, and that's why the Kings are going to go out here and win this basketball game. I have no doubt in my mind that the Kings aren't going to win. I just think the Clippers are able to keep it close. I think, again, the production that we see out of Norman Powell, this, career resurgence of sorts that Powell has had, obviously being, a number 1/number 2 at James Harden, has been great. I think that's why the Clippers keep this game close. I think this one goes down to the wire, but ultimately the Kings are the better team. That's why they're going to win it. But I think, again, because of the production we've seen out the Clippers, they will be able to cover the spread, and that's why we're going plus 5.5 for the Los Angeles Clippers, but the win will go to the Sacramento Kings. So, folks, that'll do it for our daily NBA predictions here for November 8th. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks, and make sure to join us again for an hour for our college basketball predictions on the channel as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.